for a stripped down van.
Yep.
And why don't we wait on that until we come back here in 2 weeks with Mr. Black Box?
Okay.
Is that a problem?
Nope, I'll see what I can do as far as getting that information for you. And the only other piece that I needed to talk about was for capital expense next year in regards to perimeter fence. How do we want to break that down? By all the work that I've looked at and had quoted out, we're looking at about 70,000 to lock in that one side of the facility. Plus doing
70,000?
Wow.
Just for a fence on one side?
well, no, that's gonna take care of the open side of the facility and then close off a couple of other areas of concern.
Do you have a drawing or something?
A sketch of what we're
What
talking
the
about?
footage is, how the height of it is, you know,
How about
$70,000, holy.
How about two or three in-depth sections of concertina wire all around the outside on the ground? I mean, you're worried about people coming up to the window and stuff, right? Is that what you're worried about? Yeah.
400 feet of chain link fence, 12 feet high, and that would close off if you were looking at the facility, the left side. It would start at the
Far corner
corner.
of the parking lot down
Yep.
there.
I don't have anything
The
in
windows on that side, do they open?
there. No,
Then why do we need it?
because you have the ability to people walking up directly to the cells.
Yeah, but you can't, but they can't get through the window, it's shut, right? So what's the point? I mean, I don't understand, maybe I don't understand, but explain to me what the problem is. If they can't get in, who cares whether they walk up the window or not?
I would rather answer that question when we're in a non-public session, if I could.
Can that window be opened enough to get contraband in?
No, you said it can't be
No,
open.
You
Can't be open?
Correct.
I don't see the problem either.
Yeah, that's I mean, it's a problem, I'm all with you.
Well,
but I
there
just
must be
don't
a
see it.
problem, because Jason has asked that we discuss it in a non-public
Yeah.
session, so
Let's
there must
do
be
it.
a problem, so we could do that. We can't do it today because we didn't post it, but 2 weeks we'll also add on non-public at the end of the discussion and talk about it.
Okay. All right.
So that ends that.
Now, Jason, what about, I heard some discussion about netting over the top,
Over the Darum's.
the exercise room, and where are you on that? You don't think they need it anymore, or?
Nope.
I don't think you
We-
need it either.
We, that's part of this $70,000 quote, is to close.
So it
those
isn't
in.
just chain link fence?
No, it's to close that in. And then there was, we got almost like a privacy type piece, and that was the life expectancy that you wanted me to find out
Yep.
for the 5-year piece.
Yep.
You're familiar with the privacy things that you see over like tennis courts and things of that nature, that fabric that goes over the fence? You know what I'm talking about? Looking to put that up on the interior portion of the rec yard, so you can't stick your fingers or get a toe into the chain link fabric at all, so you can't scale the fence. And that has a 5-year life expectancy on it.
If we had had a little more wire on the top of that fence and had gone around further, could that guy have still gotten out?
That there's some areas out back there that still raise some concern.
Because I wonder if it wouldn't be cheaper to maybe put a little extra wire up in some areas rather than do the whole thing. I don't know. I mean, we can talk about that when we get to this non-public session. but,
Will you please have a sketch, Jason, with footage and fairly accurate of what you want to do when we come in here for 2 weeks?
Let's go out and look at it.
Okay.
You could do that?
Okay.
You do that before?
All right. So we'll I'll see what I can do as far as specking out the van. I'll get a sketch and then we'll walk around to see that perimeter and discuss it there, and then
And you got some other statistics and stuff.
yeah, I'll have that information for you today, sir. I can forward it to Representative Epson.
All right.
Is that all you have, Jason?
Mm-hmm.
How are you doing against this year's budget?
think I'm well under. The medical line is gonna raise some concern for me because of
The
some
doctors
issues.
haven't done what they thought they were gonna be able to do?
It's not that, it's just the type of inmates that we've had to deal with this year. We've
You
had
mean
some,
more hospital runs,
Yeah.
or?
yeah. We've had some pretty sick people come in this year. And that's raising some concern because I've had to do some pretty invasive medical procedures.
At the jail or?
Is this
hospital?
from, is this from drugs, or is this from other types of sicknesses?
Some other types of
Other
sicknesses.
types of sicknesses.
Mhm.
You know, Jason, I know it's been tried and it didn't work, but if I could get something from you so that I could introduce a bill next year, if I'm lucky enough to be reelected, that would allow you to make the decision as to who gets a bracelet and goes home.
Mhm. Sure,
Didn't-
I can put something together for you.
Yeah, I'd support
Did you
that.
try that this year, Frank?
No, I didn't. There was a bill.
There was a
in
bill or
that-
something.
that I think in our, the first year.
Frank, I'd go on as a co-signer on that.
Mhm.
I would go, I'll put a co-signer on that.
And
Did-
you know, it could save the counties, all of the counties, a ton of money, even just on the medical stuff.
Mhm.
You know, if you got a guy that has medical problems and he's just sitting around doing nothing, and he's not he's not a violent type of guy, send him home, let him take care of his own medical.
Mhm.
And what would he have to go through to do that now?
I have to file a motion with the court to,
What?
yeah, the court is the only authority that can put people out.
What kind of support would you get from the other 10 jailers?
We
as
supported,
directors?
we supported that unanimously in the affiliate, the corrections affiliate. And if I remember correctly, didn't it pass the House last time and got
Killed in the Senate, I believe, yes.
I think
Yeah,
it did.
I think it passed the House,
Mhm.
and I think it got killed in the Senate, but you know, if we really worked on it and worked with the Senate on it, I think we can get it passed.
Because the last time, wasn't it introduced out of Rockingham? Wasn't
I
there was a
believe it was.
representative out of
Yeah.
Rockingham?
So,
And they've got a huge population, so they'd certainly,
yeah, I mean,
Support it.
it'd save a ton of money, and it's used, why, you know, if they're not a violent criminal, why have them locked up? Send them home, put a bracelet on them and send them home. As long as they show up in court. You know, I'm talking about the pre-trial people, of course. You're not gonna send the ones that have been adjudicated home, but the pre-trial ones you can, and save a lot of money. And I think it's ludicrous that the superintendents of the jails don't have that authority. Who else knows them better? So if you could write up something for me that I could use for a basis, I'll add to it, do some study, do some work, and I will introduce a bill early in this session to see if we can't get that done.
Okay.
are you pretty consistent on the number of prisoners that want to go out and work during the day? Is it 4 or 5 or 6, or is it more?
Yeah, they've been taking at least 5.
Does that have to be by prisoner's choice, or can you tell them they have to do it?
On the farm, we can tell the prisoner to go out. And if they refuse, then we can institute disciplinary action and take earned time and things of that nature.
But not on the other stuff, huh?
No, you cannot force a pretrial inmate to work. They can volunteer.
Pre-trial, I don't disagree with it, but I mean, let's say somebody's been sentenced.
Mm-hmm.
Can
Yeah,
you force them to go out?
You can, force is a strong word, but
But,
yes.
well, you know what I'm
Right.
talking about. I don't
Yep.
mean beat somebody.
Right. Right.
Well, out of the 53 that are really over in the jail, and you say, okay, we're going out, how many on a weekly basis refuse to go?
I have, out of my count, I had 18 sentenced people today. And I'd have to, some of those are female inmates. I have to look at my MSU, my population report in MSU.
Can't the female inmates work outside?
We don't put them out on the farm to mix genders, no, sir.
Why can't they go over
Why
to the
can't they go out
nursing
and
home?
pick the road? By the road, I'm talking.
We haven't put them in the nursing home, and I've actually talked to Rob about getting with Sandy and him to utilize the female inmates in the nursing home. But we had some negative press here, a number of years ago about putting inmates in the,
Well, I
In the
remember
nursing
that in the nursing home, they didn't want anything to do with it.
yeah.
Jason, is there an organization, well, similar to, for instance, the Chiefs of Police organization? Do you have anything like that for superintendent of jails?
Yes, we have the corrections affiliate.
Okay, a letter from them, and maybe some justification from them as to why this should be allowed. I'm talking about the bracelets, and you having the authority to make that decision.
Okay.
If I could get a letter from them with justification and their approval of it, go a long way.
Okay. I'll talk to the president of the affiliate. I'll send him an email.
Frank, the only thing I can see, well, what would you consider a violent criminal? Is a
It's-
person that breaks in and steals something from somebody's house, would you put them back out on a bracelet?
Well,
Obviously, murder, rape, and the rest of them are violent, but
Of course, yeah, I think it's all according to what crime he's charged with. If it's rape or child molestation or a violent crime, then he could be considered a violent individual. But I still think the final determination should be
Made by Jason.
Jason's.
I agree.
You know, once the guy is there for a week or 2 weeks, Jason gets to know him, all of the guards get to know him, they can tell whether he's a violent individual or not. And I think it's that Jason's the one who can make that
Get along
decision.
together pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yep. We haven't had really a whole lot of inside incidents in a while.
And you remember, we're only talking about pretrial prisoners.
Right.
So,
I mean, a habitual offender, Frank, I would agree with you. What, give him a bicycle and send him home with a bracelet, but
yeah,
he's obviously not a violent criminal. But some of the others, I think that people might draw the line at, where you
Well,
disagree and I would
that's-
disagree.
You know, that's where Jason's ability, his training, his experience comes in. He should make that decision. And so,
Really?
this guy's been here 2 weeks, he's been a perfect prisoner, no problems with him. We're gonna put him on a bracelet and send him home until his trial.
We have a pretrial release program right now. We have 6 people in it. And we're trying to work with the courts to kind of give us that authority.
Who makes
But-
the decision on
Goes out,
who goes out?
the
Yeah.
courts,
The courts.
the prosecution and the defense counsel.
I think you know him better than the courts do.
Yeah, we're trying to work on, if we can get that in statute that gives us the authority,
Yeah.
that would be really good. From my perspective, I'm not sure how the other superintendents would go with that or not, but
I tell you, Jason knows, I was a deputy warden down at the Portsmouth Naval Prison, and you get to know him quick, and you know who's violent and who isn't, who's a good guy and who's a bad guy. It comes easy once you start, mingling with them on a daily basis. And so I have all the confidence in the world that Jason would be able to say, this guy's okay, we'll send him home.
Just their record alone, Frank, I would think would give you some indication of,
Oh, yeah, his record, of course, but, yeah, I'm talking about guys that, first time in,
Yep.
and their offense wasn't a violent crime, people like that. That, they have no business being in there, until they've been adjudicated, and send them home. Why should we be paying for their food and their medical and all the rest of it? Why?
Good. Jason, where are we on that drug program that you and I visited down in Rochester?
we're gonna have those people come up and do a presentation at that next committee meeting, which is
the
scheduled in August.
Commissioners meeting or a delegation meeting?
No, that Carroll County Criminal Justice Committee, Coordination Committee.
What is that?
That's the one where we try to put together for We met originally in April, we met again in June. The next meeting is in August.
You don't think it would be helpful to have a member of the delegation on that committee?
Mm-hmm.
You don't?
Right, yep.
Not that I'm looking for any more work, or these guys are looking for any more work, but the three of us on that committee,
Well,
I would think that if we're the subcommittee, you'd want to include.
You're not gonna be on the delegation much longer anyway, so you
Go
gotta
up
put,
till December,
yeah, but,
One other thing, Jason, I'd like to bring up again, I brought it up before. I had conversations with several delegation members from Coos County. And they told me that their jail is older than Methuselah. It takes thousands of dollars in maintenance every year because it is so old.
Mm-hmm.
And they have relatively few prisoners. And they were very positive about getting together with Carroll County and maybe sending their prisoners down here for no other reason until they get a new thing built or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I know one of the commissioners doubted my word, but I have talked at length with several delegation members from COAS, and they are very positive about doing that, moving their prisoners down here. And had anything come of that at all? Have you talked to anybody up there? Or?
I personally didn't. I thought Chairman Sorensen asked Commissioner Solomon to look into that, and I had thought, and I'm not sure if you were at that meeting or not, I thought she had spoken to the county administrator up there, and she wasn't in support of that.
Well,
or she's talked to one of the commissioners up there.
Yeah.
She talked to, I was at that meeting, and I think she said she talked to the county administrator, is my
Was
my
it the
recollection.
county administrator? Okay.
So that's my recollection.
Well, I haven't talked to the county administrator. And if I remember correctly, Commissioner Solomon said they're not interested.
Right.
Now, who is they? Because everyone that I talk to, delegation members, are very much interested. So maybe Mrs. Solomon talked to the wrong people.
Well, Frank, I don't think that's a bad idea, with the exception that if they're planning to build a new jail up there, what better excuse does their delegation have for not building one? Is why do we have to worry? Carroll County's taking care of our prisoners.
I don't know that they are. I just threw that in, that if they move their prisoners down to here, and they don't have that many, it's a plus for them and for us. We would get more money because they would pay us per prisoner per day.
Yep.
And it would be less than what it's costing them right now to maintain their jail. So we would make money, and they would make money. Or save money.
what's our average vacancy rate in the jail?
Well, this morning our population was 44, and we can hold 130.
And they have, I think, 25 or 26.
They don't have very many, Frank.
No, I know
Is
that.
it possibility, Jason, for you to call up, talk to the administrator and ask him what his daily average is?
Sure.
I mean, forget your reporting of we got so many out on bracelets, we got so many transfers, we get this. How many people are in their jail every night?
Mm-hmm.
You know Representative Thaburge, right? He's a Democrat.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's really been bugging me about this. And he had several other representatives from Coos County, delegation members. We sat down in the cafeteria and talked about it, and they really want to do it.
And they've even got more pressure to do it because they did away with their farm, so these characters are all inside thinking all day long how they can cause trouble.
Yeah. Well,
Rather than outside working.
I think we ought to follow up on it. You know, Mr. Solomon went to the administrator and went to somebody and just shut the book on it and said they're not interested. I don't think that,
Well, let's
the
get
ones she talked to might not be
let's
interested.
get the details.
But there are a lot who are interested.
I agree.
Yeah, I can email Craig and just ask.
And I don't want to blame Commissioner Solomon, and maybe I'm wrong, but I thought it was the administrator she said she talked with. That's my recollection.
Yeah, it's either the administrator or one of the commissioners.
I don't think it was a commissioner, but it might have been Jay, but the answer was no.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll
Well,
have-
you know yourself, sometimes the commissioners and the delegation don't agree. The delegation might want to do it to save the county some money, but the commissioners don't want to do it because, you know, that's part of their power base.
Well, it's also the jobs that are gone off of the payroll that they're gonna come back and
Well, I'm
not
sure.
be happy about when it's time to vote, so.
Yeah, well, whatever. But I think we ought to at least look into it.
Absolutely. Anything else, Jason?
No, sir.
Anything else from you guys?
Yeah, I move we adjourn.
Oh, wait a minute, we haven't got that far. The public have anything else to say? Ed?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
In reference to saving money for the county and the state, to use the simple concept of no victim, no crime, I'm sure you've heard of this
No what?
concept. No victim, no crime, and stop criminalizing things that should not be a crime anyway. They're just statute laws that are trying to control behavior. You would remove a lot of weight off of the county jail if people weren't put in jail for no reason. A good example is decriminalizing marijuana would be a good one. And there's other people that are put in jail for what other reason? Can you give me an example of a good reason that people are put in jail other than, that would be a non-crime?
Oh, let's see. Well, you have all your driving offenses. Is that what you're talking about? Like you're operating after suspensions and your DWIs, but I mean you.
Well, DWI is something different, but are you telling me that there's people in jail that have suspended licenses?
Mhm.
That's why they're in jail?
Mhm.
Good way to save money. And as legislators, you can do
Well,
that.
let me ask you a question. These, and I'm, just to play the devil's advocate here. If the people are put in jail because they have suspended licenses,
Mhm.
and that's probably because they keep driving on a suspended license, and I assume that the license was suspended because they caused some danger to the, I mean, I don't know what the reason is, but there's some reason they should be.
Mhm.
If you just don't put these people in jail, you're never gonna stop them from driving either. They're just gonna keep doing it, right?
Mhm.
So, I mean, how do you, I guess my question is, how do you stop them, other than doing that?
Right.
And there are some people who shouldn't be driving.
Basically, Romero, what you're saying is they're not victimless crimes. I mean, somebody's out on
No.
suspended license because
Yeah,
they've been
that is-
speeding, they're going through a stop sign, and the next time they get in the car and hit somebody head on and kill them, they're certainly a victim.
What you
What's
have
the-
to think of is not just the fact that some people call it a victimless crime. You have to look at, does it have the potential that there
Yes.
would be a victim at some other date? Driving drunk. Okay, you got picked up for driving drunk. Nobody got hurt. But what if you didn't get picked
You know,
up?
some of
Somebody
these-
might have died.
Some of these guys and some of these
That's
things
my
get picked
point.
up 15 or 20 times, you know, and somehow you gotta stop that.
You're moving down a slippery slope when you're now trying to predict who's gonna do the crime and who's not gonna do the
You're
crime.
right. You're not question.
Law is supposed to be when there's a victim, or when you exhibit force on someone and cause them damage or harm, that is crime. Just trying to predict it now, what's gonna happen later on? You're predicting that somebody's gonna,
Let me ask you this. Somebody crosses our border illegally. Maybe they're a terrorist, maybe they're not. Is that a crime?
it only depends if you call it a crime.
If there's a law on the book that says anybody who crosses this border illegally commits a crime,
No,
is it a crime?
You enforce the law or you change it, in my opinion.
If there's a law on the books,
If it's there, you enforce it. If it's
you
bad,
enforce
change
it. If you don't like it, you change the law. But until the law is changed, you enforce the law.
Well, in keeping to the county, saving money for the county, I'm speaking of crimes that the citizens of the county would be.
Jason, what percentage of your people in jail are on drug-related charges?
I'm sorry, sir.
What
What's
percentage of your jail population would be on drug-related charges?
off the top of my head? I can't answer that, but the national statistics show anywhere between 70 and 80% are all
Now, that's not all marijuana, though, that's all types of drugs.
all types of drugs.
Ballpark, can you give us a ballpark?
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't want to.
And how many physicians have been arrested and put in jail for creating drug addicts out of it? Do you have any physicians in your jail?
No.
You just have the victims of the doctors that are giving the drugs out. But there's been no attempt in legislation to go after the doctors that are doing it. People get addicted because they have accidents, they hurt their back, they get addicted to OxyContin and other drugs like that. They doctor shop, and there's nothing being done to stop the doctors from doing it. They get off scot-free. I'm sorry, these are just open comments, I just can't help myself.
Going a little bit afield here.
I agree with you
I
there.
agree with you, yeah.
No, you'll save a lot of money
Yeah.
if you start enforcing real law and not just statute behavior law.
Thank you, Ed. Jack?
I asked the question before about the IT department. I saw a similar situation about a month ago where it took 3 weeks before the nursing home brought it to the attention of the commissioners that they had lost their backup system. There was no backup taking place. Do we have an IT department? If we do, why is it not responsible for all facets of the county government?
Jack, I don't think, I respect your opinion, I respect what you're asking, but to ask Jason or to ask us is not we're not the people that you should come in here
You should ask the
on Wednesday
commissioners.
morning and ask the commissioners why,
Yeah,
because
right.
it's a very valid
It is
question,
a good
but
one.
we're not in a position to answer it
Well,
at all.
my point would be if the phone system is
That part of it with the jail
going to
would be,
become
yes.
obsolete, go to the IT department. Their computer backup, go to the IT department. There should be some conformity of making all systems uniform and therefore getting support from one another. That's my only point.
Right.
And it's a valid point.
I can certainly get there. The IT department is made up of all the certain members of each department on the county complex. And I think that their role was to kind of oversee the contract by, just for the computer company, and to vet those vendors out and provide service for just the computers, I think. I'm not,
No communication, security,
I think-
recordings, data recording.
yeah.
That wasn't in the bid.
I don't think that was any, I don't think that, in the respect that you're asking, I don't think that's in their authority, really. I think every department is kind of unique to its own, and we really haven't gone to make a global system here on the county complex.
We definitely need a global system. For
I
it
think,
would save the county money if we had a global system.
and I think, and I don't want to speak for the representatives, so I'll probably speak out of my turn, but I think some of the obstacles that you'll run over there, or run into at that point, would be the funding level. Just from trying to migrate to a global system, I don't think you'll see, to keep in line with what Representative McCarthy said.
You might not be able to do it all at once, but certainly every time you put in something new, you could design it with the intent of going towards that.
Exactly.
system.
Or take advantage of
Yeah.
something that's working. I understand they have a new phone system in the nursing home. Are they satisfied? Does it work? Is it reliable? Is it backed up?
And
Then we
how
ought to
are you
take-
gonna have to replace it every time?
Then we ought to take advantage of that. Instead of reinventing the wheel each time.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
did you state that at the next meeting, we would also have a non-public session?
Yes.
Would you put in your notes that during that non-public session that I have a question for Jason relative to his authority to hire, fire, promote, and demote?
So it'll be non-public, it will be security and personnel.
Yeah, that's not really, that in itself is not really a non-public question.
Well, I think it is.
It,
If it's not, you can let it go public
Yeah.
later, but
yeah.
Well, Representative McCarthy, not to bring it up here, but why do you feel it would be non-public? You know what you're talking about, I don't, so.
because it deals with the authority of the superintendent.
But that shouldn't be non-public.
And whether or not he has the authority to do certain things, or can the commissioners tell him how to run his job? Commissioners can't tell the sheriff how to do his job.
Frank, I agree.
They shouldn't be allowed to tell Jason how to do his job either.
Frank, I agree, you'd have to look into it, but I don't agree, it should be non-public.
That's my feeling. I don't see why, where it would
Okay,
be.
fine, I just, I
Where it
was
would
just
be exempt,
covering
Frank.
tracks. So if it's not non-public, it's not non-public. But I'm adamant that Jason has the authority to do what he sees fit, what he believes is right and proper for the jail, not the commissioners. And if Jason wants to hire somebody, that's his prerogative. If Jason wants to fire somebody, that's his prerogative.
As long as
If
you-
somebody commits a wrongdoing and he says, I'm gonna demote him, that's his responsibility to do that. And the commissioners shouldn't have anything to say about it.
They should know about it, but they shouldn't have.
They should know, they should be
about it.
told what's going on, but they don't have a decision-making authority when it comes to that. That's Jason's responsibility.
Their only authority, in my estimation, should be whether they keep Jason or they let Jason go.
That's right.
Other than that, Jason runs the show.
Exactly. Just like this, well, they can't do anything with the sheriff because he's an elected
He's an elected
official.
official.
But they don't tell the sheriff how to run his office. Why should they tell Jason how to run his?
Well, they probably, Frank, they probably have a little more authority over Jason because he's employed by them versus the sheriff who, as he tells us, is only responsible to the voters.
But why is it when I bring something up, you say it's micromanaging? But then when I say that they're micromanaging, it's a different story.
Well, they can ask, if they've got a policy thing they're doing, they can ask Jason to do it, and if he doesn't, then they would have the authority to fire him. I mean, that's
Oh,
not.
of course, but that's not what I'm talking
That's not what
about.
he's talking about.
That's not what I'm talking about.
No, Jason should have that authority, I agree.
You know, if Jason, somebody does something wrong and Jason
I
thinks
have
it's
the
serious
ability to
enough,
answer
and he
some of this
says,
question.
I'm gonna demote you, or I'm gonna fire you, he should have that authority.
Doesn't he?
I can answer some of his questions.
Can you promote and demote now?
I'm sorry, sir?
Can you promote and demote now, or do you have to go through the commission?
Yes, I can.
You can,
Yeah.
okay.
Jason, you go ahead, you said you had some answers.
Under termination representative, under statute, that's covered under 2810A, where that actually termination, I believe, has to come from the commissioners. We have a policy, a county policy, that I have the authority to suspend up to, it's either 3 or 7 days, but anything above either the 3rd or 7th day, I have to get approval through the Board of Commissioners. But in regards to promotion or demotion, I have that authority in my opinion, because we don't have a policy on it, under 30B4, the powers and duties of the superintendent. I act as an agent of the commissioners. And therefore, I'm given all the rights and responsibilities under statute to make those decisions.
But
Are you,
Frank,
are you happy with the way things are? No problems?
There's one issue going on at this point, and it's a personnel matter.
No,
So
that's not public.
that's, yeah.
That's not public.
Well, that's what
Yeah,
that's why I
yeah,
wanted
that's
it
not
non-public.
yeah, I agree with Frank. So if you decide that you want to let somebody go,
Mhm.
and I'm assuming because they're union, you got to go through all of this hoopla, but you don't have the final decision.
Correct, I have to
You
go
go to the commission and they have to give you the okay.
for termination, yes, sir.
That doesn't sound
But
right
if
to
there's any
me.
leadership at all in the commissioners, they would go by whatever he
Right.
says.
Yeah, you're right.
That's right.
Well, they probably do, don't they?
For the most part.
Don't
Yeah,
answer that.
Don't
answer that
don't
one.
answer.
Anything else?
No, sir.
Harry,
Now
you
I'll
wanna-
move with you.
Okay, what time is it?
Got to the
10
clock.
after
10 after 10.
Oh, that's right, that clock's slow.
All in favor?
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed?
No.
You're outvoted.
Okay, so we'll be back here in 2 weeks at 9
2 weeks at
o'clock.
9 o'clock.
We'll have black box here
Where's
and
your
we'll have
car?
some security
If
stuff.
if I
I
can't get
things in
Peter
your-
here,
yeah.